Okay, class. So let's continue with our chapter electoral politics. So in the last class, we have learned why elections, why do we need elections, and what makes election democratic and about the political competition. Right? So now we are going to learn about the merits and demerits of electoral or political competition. The merits are as follows. Regular electoral competition provides incentives to political parties and leaders, and they also know that if they raise issue that people want to be raised, then only their popularity and chance of victory will increase in the next election. Right? As I told you, if they are working for the wellness or according to the wish of the people, or they are raising the issues which the people want to raise, then that party or that candidate will become more popular and the chance of their victory will also increase in the next election. So these are some of the merits of the electoral competition between different parties and candidates. And now, if any party is motivated only by desires to be in power, even then it will be forced to serve the people. That means being getting elected or an opposition party, it's not that they are okay, we are in the party now, we are a part of government, so we can do whatever we want. No, it's not like that. They have to serve the people, they are forced to serve the people. Otherwise, what will happen? The existence of that party will be in a question. Political competition may cause divisions and ugliness. There can be people trying to bribe others, or they are trying to threaten others, or they are doing any type of dirty tricks. So to see that this type of dirty tricks don't happen, we have our election commission also. So there may be some kind of may cause divisions and ugliness, but the final result is it finally helps to force political parties and leaders to serve the people, because they know that if people, if public, if the population of the country is supporting the party and candidate, then only they are having their existence. Otherwise, they don't have it. So these are some of the merits of political competition. Now, as we have seen merits, what are the demerits of political competition? First is political competition creates a sense of disunity between each and every party or candidate in the locality. Whereas we have different political parties and leaders, they may try to put allegations against one another. Why? Because they want that their party or their candidate should be seen or should be accepted by the people as the best one. So what they sometimes do is they sometimes try to put allegations on other people or another party or another candidate. Parties and candidates, as I told you earlier, they often use dirty tricks to win the election. So to see that dirty tricks are not played by them, we have our election commission. Right. Pressure to win electoral fights that does not allow sensible long-term policies to be formulated. That means, as we have 5 years, right, 5 years of span for a party or for the government to stay, and then we have election again. So what the problem over here is, when there is competition between them, they are not able to formulate long-term policies because there is pressure on them to win the electoral fight. So they take small policies which they can complete within the 5 years. So these are some of the demerits of political competition. There is a point which I mentioned at the end of this slide here. But some good people who may wish to serve the country do not enter this field. There are people who very much they have the desire or they wish to serve the country. They don't enter this field of political competitions at all. Next is Indian election system. The process and procedures how elections are held in our country. First is we have general election, we have by-elections, we have midterm elections. Now we will learn in the next slide what are these elections, what is the difference between general election, by-election and midterm elections. We have electoral constituencies, we have reserved constituencies, we keep voters list, nomination of candidates happen, education qualification of candidates are there, election campaigning takes place before voting, and then at last polling and counting of votes. So this is our election system which is carried over in India. Now, as I told you, we have three different types of elections. What are they? General election, by-election and midterm election. Now, what is the meaning of general election? The Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections are held regularly every 5 years. So, the Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha, they stand dissolved. Elections are held in all the constituencies at the same time, either on the same day or within few days. So here, election takes place in all the constituencies in our country, right? Now, what are constituencies? How many constituencies we have, that we will see in the other slides. But in all the constituency at the same time or on the same day or within few days, election takes place. That is known as general election. Okay, the first general election was held in 1952. Right. Next is by-election. What is the meaning of by-election? The election is held only for one constituency to fill the vacancy caused by death or resignation of a member. That is called by-election. That means if suddenly there is a vacancy which has happened because of death or resignation of a member, so what happens is an election is held only for that one constituency where this vacancy has been caused. So that election is known as by-election. General election means where all the constituencies are having election. Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. By-election means there has been a vacancy caused by death or resignation of a member, and in that one constituency the election is held. Now, what is the meaning of midterm election? The Lok Sabha or state assembly may be dissolved before its terms of 5 years. That means, as I told you, after every 5 years we have an election. So, if the Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha get dissolved before that term of 5 years, there is a midterm poll which is required to constitute a new house. When if Lok Sabha or State Assembly or Vidhan Sabha has dissolved before 5 years, so we need a constituent new house. So in fact, the expression midterm election has no legal significance, as we know that election to the Lok Sabha is invariable, called a general election. Still, if we want a constituent new house, we use midterm poll. Midterm means before the term has ended, there is an election again. So that is known as midterm poll. The election means all the constituencies together having the election. By-election means the vacancy occurred because of death or resignation of a member and election held in one constituency. Midterm means the Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha got dissolved before the 5 years term and there is a poll required for a new house. That time we use midterm. So these are the three main types of election system which is there in our country. Now, how we can say that election in India is democratic? First is unfair election practices, independent election commission, participation in the election, acceptance of election result, and challenges of free and fair election. That means when we have free and fair election, We are having an election commission who is going to take care of all election process and everything. Seeing that no unfair election practices are taking place, when all these things are taken care, then only we can say that election is democratic in our country. Right? Next is electoral constituency. Yeah. Now we have seen in election the word constituency. What is the meaning of constituency? In our country, we follow an area-based system of representation. Each area system of representation is taking place. The country is divided into different areas for the purpose of election. As we are a secular country, we have so many states, we have so many different languages, different regions, different caste people living in our country. So what we have done is our government has divided the country into different areas for the purpose of election so that the election takes place smoothly. So the areas which has been divided for election purpose, that areas are known as electoral constituencies, and the voters who live in that area can elect one representative who is standing there for that area. Understood the meaning of constituencies? Constituencies means the area which has been divided for the purpose of election. They are known as electoral constituencies. Now for Lok Sabha elections, the country is divided into 543 constituencies. So the representative elected from each constituency is called a member of parliament or an MP. That means for general election, for Lok Sabha election, our country is divided into 543 constituencies. That means 543 areas. Now, the candidate or the representative who is elected from this 543 constituency is known as MP. Is known as Member of Parliament. One of the feature of democratic election is that every vote should have equal value. As I said, that each one of the citizen of the country should be having one vote, and one vote equals to one value. That is why our constitution requires that each constituency should have roughly equal population living within it. When we have 543 constituencies, 543 representatives who will be considered as MP, so as we decide that each and every population should be having one vote and one vote equals to one value, equal value. So what our country believes is that there should be roughly, okay, 1, 2, 3, that is okay, the difference, but roughly there should be equal population in each constituency. Then only we can say that yes, this person has got this much vote because the people living over there is that much, the other place also that much vote. So there will be no, a fight that okay, there we have in that constituency area there are 100 people living and here there is only 43 people living. So because of that I didn't get my seat or I failed in this election. So for not happen, that fight should not happen. That's why a country has always thought that there should be roughly equal population living within the each constituency. Now each state is divided into a specific number of assembly constituencies. So the elected representative of that assembly constituency is called member of legislative assembly, that is MLA. In the municipal and panchayat election, each village or town is divided into several ward-like constituencies. Whenever there is a municipal or panchayat election, each and every village or town is divided into several wards like constituencies, and sometimes These constituencies are also counted as seats. We say, no, they have got 5 seats, so there are seats. What is that seat? That is the constituency which has been divided for election. So that constituency is referred as seat. So each constituency represents one seat in the assembly. For example, if Lok Dal won 60 seats in Haryana, what is the meaning of that 60 seats? That means the candidate of Lok Dal has won 60 assembly constituency. So instead of constituency, we use the word seat. That means that much from that much area, the vote has gone for that candidate. So if area are divided, if we have total 100 areas and 60 has gone for local, 30 has gone for another, and 10 has gone for, or 10 or 20, whatever has gone for the other. So who is the winner? The person or the candidate who has got 60 seats, who has got 60 constituencies, 60 areas has given him the voting. So this is the way how they have processed for the easy process of election, that the areas divided into constituencies, that constituency is considered as seat. Clear? Now what are reserved constituencies? That we will be seeing in the next class. So I believe you understood what is the meaning of electoral constituencies. Electoral constituencies means the areas which are divided and the purpose of elections, and these constituencies are considered as seats. Number of seats it is considered as. Then we have seen that how we can say election in India is democratic. We have learned about 3 types of election, that is general, by and midterm election. We have seen what is the Indian election system, the point. We have learned about the merits and demerits of political competition. So that much for today. Okay, now from reserved constituencies we will be doing in the next class.